talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
English, motherfucker, do you speak
You're
it?
so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Hey, woman. Hey, woman.
Don't run away from your feelings.
I want to do hood rat stuff with my friends.
We'll do it live.
English, motherfucker, do you
You're so
speak it?
dumb. You are really dumb. We'll do it
English,
live.
motherfucker, do
Don't run
you
away
speak
from your
it?
feelings. You're so dumb.
English,
You are
motherfucker,
really
do
dumb.
you
We'll
speak it?
do it live. Don't run away from your feelings. We'll do it live.
English,
Don't run away
motherfucker,
from
do
your
you
feelings.
speak
We'll
it?
do it live. You are really dumb.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it? English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Ladies and gentlemen, the FooL and Friends episode fucking 20-something, 30? Is this 30? Where are we at? This is like...
It's 28.
28? Is that where we're at? Somebody got the list? Sir.
Something like 20, 30, 40, something like that.
Some, like...
Episode 65.
Brought to you by... All right, so, as you see, we're fucking late. But better late than never. Because we got some shit to get into. Honestly, I mean, I would love to get into some of these articles. So we might just go in a little overtime this evening. But there's a couple of things that I wanted to go over. One that I think is amazing. And I wish he was here, but I'm doing this on purpose because he should have been here. He hasn't even said anything. He better be okay. Michael Keaton apparently has made deals for multiple DC Batman movies. I think that's pretty fucking awesome.
I think it's awesome.
I think that's absolutely amazing. It's like, yo, he can do, like, I feel like they're trying to get it together finally, I guess. You know, maybe
Still better Batman than Affleck.
right. I mean, you know, I don't blame Batflick. I don't blame him. You know, like, I don't necessarily blame him. I know that, you know, it wasn't his fault that the you know, the writing and everything was terrible, you know.
The writing.
That wasn't his fault, you know. That it is what it is, you know. Shit happens.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So, but I think they could do it. I think they might be able to pull something special off with that. Batman Beyond would be pretty dope.
They say he's going to play like a Nick Fury type character, which I thought was interesting.
Which could work.
I was like that. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Like I'm just trying to like figure out how they're going to put that together, but hey.
Right. There's a lot of logistics behind that. And the other thing that Jofer had brought to the table in regards to news was the Ryan Reynolds may appear in Zack Snyder's Justice League, or it's a major rumor, but that might be a thing apparently. I don't know. Like,
I give everything a chance equally. Honestly, the Michael Keaton news. I'm not gonna say I'm indifferent, but I'm like, okay, but what are you gonna do with it? You know,
right?
Like that's how I mean, it's like a cool thing,
right?
I mean, it's cool on its face, I guess, but like if it doesn't, I don't know. Like, to me, I'd rather. I don't know. I think they're going to start leaning too much into the multiverse stuff, which I know they're going to do. That's the only way you're going to bring him in. That's the only way they're going to bring him in. But
well, I mean, hey, Marvel's already on that, like the multiverse, like, and I guarantee they're going to execute that shit.
And that's my problem with DC is like whenever they try to copy Marvel, it just goes wrong in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, just do your own thing. I like the fact that you have this weird Joaquin Phoenix Joker over here on his own.
Right.
Like, doesn't need to be connected, but they're going to connect them for sure. That's how they're going to get him in there, I think.
They don't need to, though. I think Joker's a standalone. They should be a standalone.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, when I hear something like this, I'm like, uh-oh. You know? Gives you idea. It gives you ideas like, oh, they might fuck everything up.
Like,
everybody's saying they're getting their shit together, and I'm like,
are we watching the
maybe,
same thing?
maybe. I don't know.
So
I mean, but maybe they do fucking come strong with it. Who knows? But,
I mean, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. I mean, you never know. I don't know. I would like for them to come up, you know.
And I'll be honest, I want to watch. I do want to see the Justice League. It's not that I want it to be good or bad. I'm just curious. I'm just like, show me what your vision was. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see what this was all about. I am curious about it.
Yeah.
As just a movie fan, like, or a film buff, just want to be like, what was all the hubbub about? You know?
I'll still watch it anyway. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, like I did with the Batman trilogy and even Batman vs Superman, which I didn't really care for, but I still gave him the benefit of the doubt. I went in open-minded, you know.
Yep.
Even same thing with Wonder Woman and Aquaman, which I enjoyed both of them quite a bit. That was a nice step up for DC. So I'll give them, as long as there's no another Suicide Squad, I think we'll be all right.
I'm gonna say something that might be a little unpopular, but like I honestly, Shazam and Wonder Woman, I feel like are up there with all the best that Marvel's done. My opinion.
I still need to see Shazam. I've heard so many good things about it.
Dude, Shazam is great, man, and it's fun, and it's like, dude, there's tonal shifts in the movie that like they shouldn't work, but they make it work. Like you'll be laughing 1 second, you'll be an emotional wreck the next second. Like it's one of those movies.
So they're kind of taking the page out of like Marvel's book a little bit, and
a little bit, yeah,
kind of going more for like slightly more comedic and blending the drama with the comedy. Because DC didn't do that for the longest time. The other stuff is very serious and dark, and
plus
more straightforward.
Whenever these movies do comedy, I don't laugh most of the time. When I say most of the time, I mean like 80% of the time. Marvel and DC ain't gonna make me laugh. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
Shazam makes me laugh.
So
like every time I watch that movie, I laugh, dude. It's like so fucking funny. It's like Big humor. Like if you liked Big with Tom Hanks, it's a lot of that going on. If not, maybe not.
Hold on.
You okay, Bo? Bo's having trouble. Hold on.
But I will say DC does it well with their cartoons, though. They're definitely worth watching.
Yeah, so we're having a little issue. There's no audio on the Facebook.
Oh. Okay.
So if I start yelling like manically, people are going to be like, what is that about?
People on Spreaker are going to be freaked out later.
I'm going to be like,
no, Spreaker's fine.
But I thought we weren't going live on Spreaker anymore.
We're not live, but we still got the whole show audio. Sounds great.
Gotcha. That would be funny to listen to later on. Red just yelling for 5 minutes while Bo's like gone.
You don't know shit about shit! Just go on.
Bunch of nonsense gibberish. Yelling at crackheads.
I'm basically going to be like Mandy the movie, but in like rant form. Fucking demons with knife dicks jerking off doing coke.
Oh, he must be from Florida or Nebraska.
Bro, I had my girlfriend watch that with me, and she was like, "What the fuck is this?"
I still haven't finished it.
I was laughing, dude. What?
Yeah, I went back and watched it a couple of times.
You haven't even finished it?
Yeah, because I haven't. I just haven't watched it.
That's disappointing.
I got really hammered one time.
Yeah, so that whole like beginning didn't even count.
Yeah,
so
pretty much. Just keep it moving.
Yeah. Just keep moving.
Yeah, because we got the audio on Spreaker's fine.
The audio on Spreaker's fine.
Yeah,
we're Bill O'Reilly right now.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go live on the Facebook again.
You stopped it?
Yeah, I did. I did.
This guy.
Oh, that's loud.
If you guys would have just came to the studio.
Hey, man, I thought this was. I didn't argue.
Listen, Bo just is scared to leave the house, so he's like, no, because what if somebody calls the police on you guys?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think. I didn't want to say it, but
Back on live. You can keep talking shit, Serge. It's
Because
cool.
what if they call the police on us?
All right.
Guys?
Anyways, so we had some technical issues, and
Because they got bars and stuff they got to
there
worry
was
about.
like no actual audio for like the first like 10 minutes.
Yep.
So I apologize. You can check some of the replay on fucking Spreaker.
Yeah, we've had the whole
when
audio
we
the whole
upload
time.
that,
working
so
there.
you'll have all that and that fun shit talking for being responsible.
Look out, man. The cops
Fucking,
are coming to
whatever.
Ohio Studios
Be an asshole about it.
to
That's cool.
shut us down.
Cool. Keep talking shit. Fucking asshole. Anyways, so
I brought my mask.
Where
In
was
the
that?
form of a beard.
One of the last things I want to go over here is this fucking Cuphead coming to Netflix. Fucking Cuphead the cartoon.
I think that's going to be awesome. Bo and I were talking about it a little bit earlier, and we kind of hope they go with more the adult approach to it. Not like super raunchy or anything, but not for kids, Because I don't think it'd be the same if it was family friendly. Because even the game itself is kind of mature in some ways, even though it looks like it's made for kids. But I do love. I think it's got a lot of potential. They can go a lot of different directions with it, especially if they keep it with the same old like atmosphere with the awesome music and the old timey cartoon feel.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think it'll be dope as fuck. Like I mentioned as well, like feel like if they go like a slight adult route with it, it'll hit really well,
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see. I do want to jump into these reviews because we got to go straight into Mandy. Technically, Serge put this up for review like on the second episode we did, I believe, maybe second or third, maybe even first episode.
Yeah, it was
I thought it was the
definitely
first,
the first
yeah.
episode. It was
up
definitely the
there.
first episode.
And honestly, we didn't do it for a while because at first we forgot, but then it became a running gag. But being that we've been in the fucking doing this for a year now, I think it's actually appropriate that we visit it finally because it's actually kind of a little funny too. But before we jump into it, I have to preface again, Serge is officially banned from picking anything.
Whatever. This movie's awesome. Are you kidding me?
Like,
Are you kidding me?
You're getting like let's do a 5-episode ban.
Jesus. Whatever, man. Whatever,
I was
man.
gonna go
Just
light.
for
Like, well,
speaking up.
well, here's the thing. I was gonna go light on the sentence. I was gonna go like a 2-episode ban, but then he wants to continue to be an asshole and talk shit.
Did you not
So we
see
do a
Mandy?
5-episode
Did
ban.
you not watch Mandy?
And so Mandy is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I get what they try to do, but I feel like it's that dude who tries so hard, like in high school, and it's just kind of cringy. Like, and they were serious about it. Like, that's the problem. Like,
Were they?
I'm sorry. The visual aspect, I love how it was shot. Like the colors and shit, dope. The old school, like the grainy film, like what is it? What's the millimeters? What is it? The
8 millimeters?
Yeah, like I like that. That was pretty much the most that I liked about it.
I like the soundtrack personally.
The what?
The what?
The soundtrack.
Yeah,
it was great.
that too.
It opens up with King Crimson, which was pretty perfect.
Right. I also feel like they lost themselves a little bit. They forgot what they were trying to do, like halfway through it.
Well, it's like two different movies, man. Like the first half and second half are two different things.
Well, that and like my thing is like you
Well,
also
kind of.
like the opening. They're like, oh, Smoky Mountain, this 1983 or 4 or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool, that's cool. And then like after that, they're like, oh, the Children of the New Dawn or whatever.
Yeah.
And you go like a whole hour and something without another title. And I'm like, I get you're breaking up the acts of the movie, but like I felt like they forgot, and they're like, oh shit, we gotta fucking like name the third act. What do we name it? The title. Mandy. We'll call it fucking Mandy. The third act's Mandy. The title of
Make
the
it look
movie.
like a black metal logo while you're at it too.
Right. Fucking hell.
Damn, I liked it. I like that. Like everything you're saying, like you're saying it like in a sarcastic way, and I'm like, sounds cool. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I liked it.
But like, I mean, no, and you're fine. Like, here's the thing: I'm not saying it's the worst movie ever.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's trash. It's just for me, like it just like it's a very special person to enjoy that.
It's a very niche movie, yeah.
Right. You know, I felt like because they were trying to be a horror movie, but then they like forgot and turned it into like gore porn, and kind of like Saw.
That LSD gore porn trip.
Yeah, like
But
I felt like they were trying to do too much at the same time, too many things at the same time. You know.
I just don't know. I don't think they took themselves seriously. You said like I honestly I took the whole thing as almost a joke. Like I think it was supposed to be like not a joke, but when he said you ripped my shirt, you ripped my shirt, my favorite shirt. I don't think that they're like. I think they know that that's ridiculous.
Nicolas Cage had like maybe 20 lines in the entire movie, if that.
Right. Well, because they know like you can only do so much with Nicolas Cage. Like, let's be honest. Like,
and they got every last dollar's worth.
Right. They got their money's worth for Nicolas Cage.
He's paying that debt back, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, like look. So to bring y'all in, I mean, I'm gonna spoil some of it, but I guess not all of it. Like, it definitely starts as kind of like an '80s film, leading into a horror. You know, sets up the tone and everything. You know, Nicolas Cage and his girl Mandy living out in the woods, you know, peacefully, and then like this group shows up, this cultist group. They snatch up his girl, and then they end up sacrificing her in front of Nicolas Cage, and then he goes nuts. Like he was like a fucking he was like a Walmart brand John Wick.
He's a great value. You just called him a great value John Wick.
He's a great value John Wick.
Yeah, but but he had an axe instead of guns. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to defend this movie still.
You know, but that's just me. That's just my take on it.
When he said cheddar goblin back to the TV, did you think he was being that was like a serious moment?
That was pretty funny. I was laughing pretty hard at that.
Well, I think a lot of it too was
cheddar
like
goblin.
You know, he's tripping balls
that
and
commercial's
shit.
amazing.
You know, so it's like hard to decipher like what's legit and what's like LSD. Because at some point, literally he's tripping. You know.
Literally, his face melts off when he takes the LSD.
Right.
That was funny. Yeah, that was great. I thought
so. But yeah, so he goes on a rampage, and you know, and that was it. Pretty much ends like you kind of expected to. It's pretty predictable, which is understandable because again, they hit that mark. They hit the 80s, you know, predictability mark. But for it to be for me, Serge made it seem like, oh, this is gonna be so fucking dope.
Because it was.
The plot's the weak point. It ain't about the plot. It's a tone poem.
Right.
It's like, yeah.
And it hits the tones. It hits the tones.
Yeah.
I mean,
which I appreciate personally.
Right.
Yeah.
I knew you would too. I'm sitting here like, oh, he's probably having a hard on right now.
And Nick Cage doing Nick Cage things, basically acting like me every time I come home with a bottle of vodka.
Yeah. Yeah. So
staring at yourself in the mirror, drinking straight from the bottle, grunting.
Nothing. It's exact. I mean, put on my Tiger T-shirt. I did the whole deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like he is the Tiger King,
Tiger
King. Like and the tiger, the chemist with the tiger.
Lizzie.
Like where did you get this tiger?
It's symbolic of Nicolas Cage being let out the cage. Okay. Nicolas Cage being let out of the cage.
That's a
like
tough
tiger,
sell.
And you wore the shirt.
Sell.
I
think that's a tough sell.
It's a direct tie. It's an obvious connection going on there, right?
I mean, I get it, but I'm like, yo, where'd he get the fucking tiger?
It doesn't matter. It's a tone poem, man.
The
Where
one thing I
did
do give the director though is there is a little bit of symbolism in his shirt. He's wearing the shirt that says 44 on it. It's like a baseball tee. If you look up the number 44, the meaning, it means like spirituality and love. So it's interesting that he's kind of the good guy and he's fighting for Mandy out of that sense, you know. So there's that little bit of symbolism that was in there. So I do
She was
give the
very
director that
spiritual.
one.
right?
Yeah, I give him
I
that.
loved
much.
how she talked. I love the scene where they're talking about Jupiter and all that shit and your favorite planet, and
That was a
when
cool
she talks
scene.
when she talks about the starlings, I think they're called or whatever. Like all that shit to me, like it just like built like in the midst of this goofy movie, there's a little something to like. Slowly, the camera like pans in while they're talking, sitting down.
Right.
I don't know, like I was so into it, man, and like
Right.
you know, she's engaging. She was cast perfectly. Like, who else plays Mandy? Like, she's so creepy, dude.
Right.
And she had to have some kind of like contacts or some shit with her black eyes. That shit was creepy.
Yeah.
Creepy.
So,
Creepy
but,
paper.
For me, honestly, I have to. I don't know. Like, so favorite scene, was when he made his dope ass axe. Like, I'll give him that. Like the axe, the whole like making of the axe, like all that, like that was pretty cool. I like how the axe came out. That shit was dope. Like that shit was pretty fucking cool.
Apparently, it's influenced by a heavy metal album on the cover. I can't remember what it was. But I remember looking it up when we were initially going to do it. But it's like apparently like I can't remember. I think it was like actually on a. God, I'd have to look it up. I'm sorry, but yeah, the axe was like influenced by a heavy metal band,
right?
So they put it on their album cover.
But yeah, that whole sequence, him making the axe and fucking losing it in the bathroom, like I was like, all right, this is when it's gonna get fucking interesting. I mean, it got interesting, but it was like, hey. Okay. I get it.
So your favorite scene is the axe, and then what do you rate it?
Like a 6? Yeah.
That's not bad. I mean, I thought you were going to say worse.
Yeah, we'll give it a solid 6. I mean, because the art form of it was dope. Like I said, like I liked how they used the actual old school filming, like all this shit. I like that. I like it. It gave it a nice little touch. Even if it was a post effect, I don't think it was a post effect. It doesn't seem like it. But I like that. I like that touch to it and how it was super 80s, 70s, like it hit that. But outside of that, like, yeah. It was like it's like an emo kid trying to be super edgy in an art class. You know? Like, this is my presentation. Like, yeah, it just
the biker gang, they do all this LSD and they become these demons. And they
Right.
have this hornet, they call out the demon.
right. Like,
Bro,
the
that
studio,
hornet's creepy,
I will give the studio mad credit because somebody walked in that office and was like, yo, I got this movie idea with Nick Cage, right? Check me out. And he's got to fight these demonic LSD-ridden bikers.
Biker demons.
So fun fact, Nicolas Cage was originally going to play Jeremiah. And
I got to see that too.
yeah, like if it's
He's
kind
probably
of
not comfortable with his dick hanging out like that.
But the director was set like this is Jeremiah, and apparently, who is it? Oh, Elijah Wood. He produced the movie.
Yeah.
Or it was his production company, and the director was basically like, "You're playing Jeremiah or not?" And then they went their separate ways. And then Elijah Wood was like, "Hey, I think y'all should talk some more, maybe, and try to figure this out." And then he made him Red, and he basically gave in to Nicolas Cage. He wanted to be Red. He thought he had something to bring to the character or whatever. I'm like, I could see him being Jeremiah, but like, who plays Red if he's not Red? Like,
well, you get Red Foreman to play Red. Duh.
Huh?
Red Foreman.
I could do it.
Nah,
I could be edgy, Bo.
I feel like the writer made that role
react
for
and
Nick
you just
Cage
yourself.
for sure. I think that was made for him. But let's see how we got on the Facebook. Let me see what we look like on the Facebook. So, Chuck, you're next.
Maybe I should have been on drugs when I watched this movie. I don't know.
It's a possibility.
It felt like a giant trip.
I love it.
Kind of the director did symbolize a lot with the color crimson too, which is kind of a religious color, you know. So he did symbolize that. There's definitely the aspect that I did appreciate. The soundtrack was excellent, very like 70s prog rock almost, kind of, especially because you open up with King Crimson being the first song you hear, and that was a really good fit, I think. Nicolas Cage was Nicolas Cage playing himself, nothing special. In my opinion, he's himself in every movie. I honestly wasn't overly impressed with it, just because I felt like it just dragged, and I was kind of just waiting for it to be over.
That part too.
It took forever to get going.
God,
because I know like it's supposed to be classified as a horror movie, but I don't really call it a horror movie at all. I think it's more of like I don't want to say action, because like the first part's not really much of anything. I don't know. I wasn't overly impressed. I'm a big horror movie fan, so I was not satisfied with that, you know.
Yeah.
Description. I wanted to be like creeped out and weirded out, but like,
and it had a couple of moments where it was a little like this is, and I don't even think it was more creepy as it was just like, ooh, like cringy.
Cringy is the word, yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're trying way too hard right now to be creepy.
Are you guys familiar with the cartoon from the 70s? And I think they made one in 2000 called Heavy Metal. It was like 2 cartoons they made.
I think I know what you're talking about.
They use like a heavy metal bands in the background, and it's just really weird, out there, cartoony stuff. Some of the animated scenes in that movie kind of reminded me of that. Like, it was a real life version of that. If you guys watch that, you'll completely understand what I'm talking about. It's kind of influenced by that, I think, at least a little bit, with the 70s, like LSD, and early 80s, like action or horror films and whatnot. Favorite scene, though? I don't really know if I have one, to be honest. I just didn't really care for the movie. I was really bored waiting for something to happen that I actually cared about. I don't know. Honestly, I was bored. I'd probably give it like a 3.6. I just didn't really care for it. Not my thing, personally.
Wow, man.
Not my thing.
I'm alone here.
Wait, how low did you put it?
I put it at 3.6. It was still better than the documentary Serge recommended last time, but...
That's true. It definitely was. That's facts.
Whatever. You guys are all uncultured.
Bruh, it's not about uncultured. Just Mandy is not that great as you think it is, dog. Maybe you were just really fucked up like when you saw it originally.
It gives a lot of people love it. It's very much a cult film. And like, by all means, if you're into that style of movie, watch it. Don't take our opinions, but watch it on your own. But it's just not my thing personally. For something to be classified as a horror movie in the way it is, and it just didn't feel like a horror movie. It felt like just one big drug trip.
I agree. Like, it was just watching like somebody on acid the whole time. Like,
basically, yeah.
So, but Red, you're up next.
So I mean, I really enjoyed it. I've watched it twice now, because I watched it the first time for the show. I thought we were going to review it, and I watched it early. And so, like, I got to watch it a second time. And I still like it. I don't like it as much as I did the first time, I guess. But, like, I've grown since then. You know, it's a whole year since then. So, no.
Gotcha. You do a lot of change in a year.
Different space than where I was a year ago.
It is goofy. But, like, see, like, y'all say cringy. I think goofy. I feel like it's like intentional. I don't think it's supposed to be. I mean, I think Mandy is supposed to be, as a character, that stuff is supposed to be taken a little bit more seriously. But the stuff around it, I think it's just kind of like balls to the wall, like fucking, you know, just having, like, I literally think it's just like, you know, a bunch of dudes having a bunch of fun making, you know, something artful. They take a style, dude, the grain. I'm so glad you brought up the grainy video. Because, like, that's, like, the first thing that hit me. I'm like, dude, look at the way it hits the logo.
Dude, I love, like, here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. Sorry to cut you off, but the opening had me. Like, it was that classic meme. Like, you had me in the first half. But then, like the opening had me. I was like, okay, we here. And
I actually feel like the whole first half of the movie for me, I loved. The second half, I feel like it gets a little too goofy for its own good. But I do think it's intentional. I don't think it's unintentional. And I think I don't know. I really enjoyed the first. It's funny because Chuck said he enjoyed the second half a little bit more. He felt like the first half was a slow build up. Like, let's get going already. And I was in love. Dude, like when they did the horn and shit, and they go and sit in the car, and the dude's rolling the window up and down.
I take that back. That's my best. That's my favorite scene when they sacrifice that dude. That was pretty cool.
He's got the slack jaw, and he's rolling the window up and down. I'm like, first of all, that's the creepiest motherfucker of the whole group. I don't care what anybody says. The blonde dude with the slack jaw. Yeah. He's looking around like.
I take that back.
That dude.
The best scene, in my opinion, was the one where they first show up and they take Mandy, and there's like the lightning flashing and everything. That was cool. That was kind of like so eerie. That was the best scene in my opinion.
Dude, and like the way they do the horn and they're waiting and like and then when they show up on them fucking bikes and shit, you're like, what is this? Like you just have like I remember the first time I watched it, like, huh?
It just took a complete left turn.
It's like, what the fuck? And that one guy's got Hellraiser vibes about him.
Yeah, I mean, cool. and that's the thing. I guess I was super disappointed.
Crystal Lake. Hey, Crystal Lake is directly referenced, by the way.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I caught that. But my thing was like, I expected. I guess maybe I was super disappointed that they weren't actual demons. They were just stuck. Like brains were fucked up on LSD. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, he starts like by the end of the movie, he's like seeing things the way they see it, which is just fucked up.
Well, but the thing is, though, was like,
like puts it on his tongue and he just trips the fuck out.
Right. I feel like they should have just kept going with the supernatural aspect.
Dude, I remember Boston.
It went from like all these demon bike riders to LSD bike riders and a creepy ass fucking cult. Like,
yeah. Well, I honestly think like they're saying a little something there where it's like, so the demons kind of represent like if you just let your demons take over and like he's doing coke, jerking off the porn with his
LSD.
With his knife dick.
Oh, his knife dick, yeah, dick.
and and like they're just like
fucking
giving into
knife
their worst,
dick, bro. Like
they're giving into their worst impulses, right? The demons. But then you have people when they get too self-righteous, you become like a Jeremiah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like you get too preachy, you get too over the top, and all of a sudden you're a god or you're a messiah rather or whatever.
The best character though. Like he was the only one that actually was fucking acting in that entire movie.
You know, he's actually a cult leader
in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, from what I read. Yeah. I think it's something where he's a part of a cult and he's not really the leader, but he's high up in the cult. Yeah. And they believe in like meditation and all this stuff, and like they make it sound like it's like an easy, accessible way to get in. Like we're all about meditation and mindfulness or whatever, but apparently it gets a little dark and there's a lot of fraud and stuff going on in there.
What
So basically Scientology with meditation?
Yes. Yep. Bikram yoga, but even worse. So. Somehow.
Yeah, that's fucking wild, bro. That's absolutely wild. What was your favorite scene, though?
Oh, actually, dude, I was going to say the horn. The Cheddar Goblin is a close second. I'm going to say that right now. The Cheddar Goblin, when I saw that shit, that fucking commercial is incredible, by the way.
I love how he just stops. Like, he just witnessed Mandy get burnt alive. He walks in just watching this commercial and just stares at it.
Yeah. And then he goes, Cheddar Goblin. Like, he just whispers it at the TV. I'm like, what the fuck? That's when I knew this movie was not taking itself seriously. I'm like, okay, this is... And apparently those people, they made that famous series of... what was it? Oh, my God. Look it up. The people that made Cheddar Goblin, they made... It was on Adult Swim, I think. What the fuck was it called?
Robot Chicken?
No. Oh, dude, I pretty much reviewed it. I had this movie ready the first episode. I forgot some stuff. But actually, my favorite scene is the very end when he looks over in the car and he sees Mandy and he's going through all that.
He's got a Nicky smile.
Dude, that is the creepiest fucking smile. He's just like fixated, like, fucking got me. I loved it.
Fucking the LSD kicked in hard at that point. And I'm sorry, that final fight with the chainsaws.
Yeah, it wasn't that good.
Like, it was just so bizarre and absurd. Like, I got this fucking long Dong Johnson fucking chainsaw.
I felt like
Nick Cage is like, I got my little baby normal chainsaw.
I felt like it built up to something that was like anticlimactic a little bit. But
No,
I love
I
the
do
fact
agree.
that I love the fact that Jeremiah was willing to suck his dick, and then he went back to like, you know, oh, you will kneel
fuck
for me.
that. Never mind.
Yeah.
You suck my dick.
But it's like, but that's where he's operating from. That's the thing. Like, it perfectly illustrates like the mind of a cult leader. They're super insecure, and like they get on that power trip because it's like, God,
Oh, once again, it's like climatic ending though. He just crushes the
Yeah, I
dude's
agree.
head. Like,
with
come
the
on.
eyeball popping out, kind of cool.
Yeah.
It,
What are you
It's
giving
good
it though?
CGI, not CGI, but practical effects. You know. But,
Yeah.
But it could have been better. You know.
So actually, no, I take it back. My favorite scene is you ripped my shirt. You ripped my shirt,
It's my favorite shirt.
bro. The way he said that, I'm like,
Oh, God.
all right, bro. Like, I mean, I love Nicolas Cage. I'm a sucker. That's what the problem is. I might recommend Bad Lieutenant one day, by the way, because that's incredible. So I give it I actually give it higher than y'all, man. I give it like a 7.8. I enjoyed it. I thought it went for what it was trying to like. It did what it set out to do in my mind, which is kind of how I rate movies predominantly. So like when I look at a movie, like if I look at The Notebook, I'm not gonna watch that fucking movie more than once. Okay, I don't like it. Like it's not my thing. But I recognize game when I see it. Okay,
Right. I feel you on that. And actually, I totally 100% agree with that. Like, I agree with that statement because I feel the same way about Notebook. Am I going to be like, oh, let's watch The Notebook? No. But I'm be like, yo, honestly, they executed their pattern and their genre very well.
Yep.
I will give them
and
that
Ryan
credit.
Gosling is a snack. He's a snack. Okay,
I mean,
so that's
sure.
Is that your man crush?
Right?
you gotta watch Blade Runner 2049, by the way.
Oh, Lord. If it's anything like Blade Runner or whatever, I don't think I want any part of it.
We're doing it.
So
immediately.
the next thing on the list is What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah,
The last 5 episodes of season 1. This was Chuck's recommendation. So, Chuck, if you would go ahead and bring us in on these 5 episodes, sir.
So, where did episode 4 leave off? Or episode 5? That was the
5 was
they get stuck, or Laszlo gets abducted, or not abducted, but taken into the
right
animal control.
Yeah,
Right.
Animal Control was the last one. Yeah.
So 6 through 10 started off with the Baron's Night Out.
Yeah. So the Baron that showed up in episode 1, or I think it was episode 1.
Yeah,
He decided to
something
go
like
around
that.
Town. He wants to see what New York is about. You know, he heard about this new culture, this new life, and he wants to see what it's all about. And he's just this decrepit, rotting thing. So he ends up wearing Colin Robinson's clothes to make him look normal. And he's walking around the streets telling everybody they're vampires. And he wants to try human food and try pizza, which is covered in garlic. So he ends up like projectile vomiting and flying around the screen.
Dude, this whole first season, great. But man, that was hilarious.
I love when he's like, "You guys want to go do shots?" And they go into the bathroom, and he's like holding this dude up, drinking the blood. He's like, "Shots!"
Dude.
So goofy, man. I love it.
Every episode is solid in that first season. That's the best thing about it. It's really hard to choose a favorite scene or favorite episode.
It is. It is.
If I think the best episode is probably where they deal with the council. Just because
the trial? Yeah.
Dude.
Basically
Danny Trejo, no.
The Baron ends up like drunk and drugged up from all the people that he was like drinking the blood of, and
that shit killed me, man.
And Guillermo ends up opening the door in the middle of the day and kills him on accident. All the sunlight hits the Baron and he explodes. So the council reaches out to him and to put the 3 on trial. And the trials consisted of basically people that have played vampires in movies, playing themselves.
Evan Rachel Wood, Tilda Swinton.
Rachel Wood, Tilda Swinton, Danny Trejo, Paul Rubens.
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes. Don't forget Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes via Skype or whatever.
Via Skype.
And then there's this a baby that Laszlo turned into a vampire, which is a big no-no. He's been a baby for like 50
Oh
Yes.
yeah, Dave Batista.
Batista.
Dave Batista.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was.
Right? Did I say it?
He's like, I want to find. They said they accused me of turning this baby into a vampire, but it wasn't me. I would like to find out who that was because I could stab him 5,000 times with this hand to do 5,000 times more with this hand.
Yes.
He basically plays what's his name, Drax. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a vampire.
He's got yeah.
Yeah, man. That episode was laden with the cameos, the just
Second
God.
Marquis himself too was there, and Jermaine Clement,
Mm-hmm.
the two big producers and creators of the show.
Yeah, Takai Waititi.
He's a genius writer, in my opinion. I think he's so fucking funny.
Yeah, no, he's good, and he's wonderful. I'm excited for whatever else he decides. I still gotta watch JoJo. Yeah,
He did Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, that movie is probably one of the best Thor movies out of all of them. It's
one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Yeah, it's up there. It's really good. So the trial, that's your favorite episode then?
That's probably my favorite episode. It's really hard to choose though, because the last one's really funny when they go into the church and catch on fire and are bleeding blood.
Oh God, yes. The ancestry episode.
That was really funny.
Yes.
Guillermo finds out
Which
he's an
also
ancestor.
so that's one thing that I wanted to bring up. I love seeing how comedies bring in their conflict, I guess you could say. Like their next season, teaser. Because that's one thing, like through all the different shows like Office and Parks and Recs, like you got to obviously do a cliffhanger when you're doing a show. But it's hard to because you're doing a comedy. So it's like.
But this is a good blend between comedy and horror too, because there's just some real horror aspects to it that are awesome.
Right, and that's what I loved about the end of it, where the ancestry episode, because fucking Nandor, the opening, God, that opening of the episode,
200,000 direct descendants,
and then the witch semen, like. God,
there is definitely some foreshadowing to season 2 in 2 different parts of that episode.
Well, yeah. So
you guys haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and I'm just saying it now because I think it's awesome. I loved it, and it's really a tie between that and the other thing. But the fact that he has those descendants and he wants to go meet them and meet the one that's closest in Staten Island and end up in the church when she passes and.
Well, basically, like he wants to meet his closest direct descendant, who is 90-something years old.
But he treats her like a fucking kid.
A retirement home or apartment, and he flies up to the window, and Colin Robinson and Guillermo are watching him. Colin's like, "Don't tap on the window."
I highly recommend against that.
A heart attack, and she died.
You goaded me. You goaded me.
You goaded me. Like, oh man. But yeah,
he said she died so young when he was in the church.
Right. She died so young.
That got me, man.
Man, he goes to like gets some water, so he throws the holy water on him. Oh man. So
who does that? That's another year for you.
God. And so Chuck, what was your favorite I guess episode? Was it the trial?
It's gotta be the trial, I think. Just because I think like you kind of see a little bit of Guillermo's like vampire hunter background a little bit, and just the cameos alone. The cameos alone were just so funny to me. The baby, because the baby screaming.
Yes. So, and what are you giving the first season as a whole?
To me, this is a very solid comedy. One of my new favorite shows. Period. I give it 9.8 as a whole, just because I think it's absolutely hysterical.
Okay. All right. So I guess I'll go up next. I loved the whole first season. I loved it. The comedy is on point. All of it, the horror to the comedy, the expanding of the characters, I guess you could say, like how they're adding the girl and she's being taught. Yo. That oh God, that episode. Oh fuck, that was
I think it was
citizenship episode. I got the wiki up here.
You know that's Jonah Hill's sister.
Yes.
Yes. You pointed it out last time.
She was in the Super Bad for Girls movie, whatever it's called, Booksmart.
Yes. That episode though, where they're teaching her and she finds out about her power, about invincibility, when she turns into the creepy bat thing.
Yes.
Fucking lost
Laszlo.
it.
It's as easy as this, but
Right. And then
say that.
fucking oh god, she just looks so fucked up. Like I felt bad for her.
Thing's hideous.
But then at the end she gets her just dues. Like the whole thing, like it's really well done. And like I said, I was bringing up the ending because like you mentioned, Guillermo has what was it, like 3-point-something% Dutch. And he traced it all back to Van Helsing. And like
Incredible.
what's funny is I was not I don't know if it was that, it was the ghost episode where he's like, oh, you don't believe in ghosts but you believe in all this other shit, and now he's just like doubting, like, well, it can't be the same Van Helsing, that can't be true, like
It's not even
he's
real.
like, but I work for
Is he?
vampires. Like so it's just like, yo, I like it. Like it kind of came full circle with that joke, but also just the idea of that. Like it's fucking, it's pretty fucking good. And then it leads into the strong opening of the second season, which is pretty good. But
He comes out swinging in the second season.
God,
Here comes
yeah.
the force.
We'll probably review it at some point. It'll definitely come back up at some point, I'm sure. But if not, check it out. Watch it. It's really good.
It's on Hulu, 10 episodes.
Right. But favorite episode, fuck. It's a hard tie between the trial and the ancestry. Just because the trial, again, like Chuck was saying, the different people that were there, like Tilda Swinton. She doesn't get enough credit as an actor, I think, or actress, I should say. Because like
She's awesome, man.
Like every role she gets, like even I was like when they announced her for Doctor Strange.
Yes.
And I was kind of on the team, like you're kind of whitewashing shit a little bit. But then when I saw what she did with the role, I was impressed. I was like, I wasn't mad. I was really impressed. But her, I mean, she's been in so many other dope ass roles, from bigger to small ones, like Constantine.
Oh, she played Gabriel?
Michael or Gabriel, I think. One of the fucking fallen angels or some shit like that.
Right. Yeah, she was good in that one too.
Like, I just, she doesn't get enough credit. And this time, like, she got to show her comedic timing really well. It was just a fucking hilarious episode. But then Ancestry, the cold opening was, how did you get my DNA? Like that, god damn it. That like, and then like you were saying, the church scene. Oh fuck. And he's like, get some water. It's like, oh man. Fuck.
Yes.
They're just crying blood.
Yes.
Dude, they're all, the way the smoke was rising off them and shit, and like the fires just erupting. I'm like, that's fucking crazy.
It cracks me up because Colin Robinson's there too. He's like, I'll be fine. I'm an energy vampire. Once again, I won't hurt you. I'll be fine. And then everybody leaves because they can't stand the burning. And he's like, I'd rather watch TV. I'm going to leave.
Right. Like, because he's at first about it, because he's like the energy he can feed off of. But then shortly after, he's like, yeah, no, I'm good. Like, yeah.
He's such a good supporting character. I love him. He's so funny.
I'm so glad, because like he was on The Office. He was Nate. He was in the warehouse, remember?
Right. It was a tiny role. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tiny
Dude,
role, but even then, those little moments, like the hat one.
Yeah.
If there's ever an actor that should be on The Office, it's that guy.
Right.
Like he fits everything, man. You know that guy at The Office.
And I'm that's why I'm glad he kind of like, it's interesting because he did The Office and now he's got like a main role on this show, and he's pretty much an Office guy. Like, it's pretty hilarious. But yeah, so it's a definitely, I can't honestly pick between the two. That's one of the very few times I have to say it's a hard tie. I can't choose between those two. But the first season as a whole, I'm giving it a solid. I'm gonna give it a solid 9. For a first season for a comedy, and relatively unknown people, to say the least. Because I mean, if you're not obviously in the shit, you're not gonna know some of these people. It's fucking solid, and it's only on their 3rd season. Like it just started.
The second season. It just wrapped up the second season.
Did it? I thought they just started the 3rd. Okay.
I don't. No, they just wrapped up the second because I'm all the way caught
Oh yeah,
up.
June 10th, 2020 was the last episode.
I don't know her real name, but the girl that plays Nadia, she's on
something.
She's on another Netflix show. It's kind of like it's a British show where they kind of like take like floral arrangements and design cool things out of it. She's one of the hostess on there, so you can actually see more of her actual personality outside of the show. So it's kind of cool. That's the only other thing I know her from, though. My wife watches it.
I honestly think she has like some of the best lines, like probably the best lines, honestly. Naja?
She's really good at improv.
Oh, and a shout out to her still not being able to pronounce Jeff.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And like the distaste when she says it, like the genuine, like, oh god, like where did you get this name? Like,
and it speaks so to women, like how they could be turned off by the slightest little weird,
right, dude,
or turned on by the
bro.
slightest little weird detail. Yeah, it can go either way.
Facts, bro.
Anyway,
but yeah, so you are up now, Red.
Dude, it's fucking hilarious. I love this show. Like, honestly, I watched it again a second time just because, like, I feel like there were some jokes that were missed because it kind of comes at you like that. Like, there's 22 minutes.
And hold up. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. We have to make a what is it? A retraction?
Oh, an audible? Oh.
That's a retraction. Homegirl, Jenna, she is not Seth Rogen's sister.
Jonah Hill.
No, not Seth.
Jonah Hill.
That's what he said.
Did you? I thought you said Seth Rogen.
They're synonymous because of Superbad and other things.
No, you said Jonah Hill. I know for a fact you said Jonah Hill last time because I remember hearing that and being surprised.
I might have slipped up, but I meant Jonah Hill. They look exactly alike, you know.
It's 2020.
I meant Bill Hader. I'm sorry.
Just it's 2020.
It was Bill Hader.
All right.
What? I didn't say. Could you want me to say the un-PC version?
No, but go ahead, man.
I can't say people look alike anymore. It's crazy.
No, it's okay. Relax.
Sisters and brothers can't look alike.
No. Nope.
It's 2020. Anyways. Damn you! Anyway. Dude, it's fucking hilarious, man. Like, and like I said, it's like, it comes at you like, bam, 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 bam. Like, they throw jokes on the wall, and like, they pretty much all stick, man. Like, there's not really a bad, like, that's the thing about it. Like, a lot of times with shows like this, when they do that, like, it's a little, some of them will it'll feel a little stale, or it won't land the way it should.
Yeah.
But with this, man, the timing is so perfect.
Dude, the orgy episode.
The way they great. The way they edit things and cut away from one thing to the next, like it's all perfectly, synergistic. You know what I'm saying? Like everything feels like it's going at the perfect pace. The pacing's good, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and, it really is.
Yeah, and dude, I fucking love it. My favorite episode. And I can't wait to watch season 2, by the way. I haven't watched it yet. My favorite episode's probably Citizenship, or Immigration, whatever it was called.
Yeah, it was Citizenship, yeah.
Dude, that was fucking hilarious. And the way he...
Oh, God, that scene. I know exactly where you're going.
Dude, when he says, I wanted to become an American for 5 reasons and 5 reasons only.
Yes!
Jordan, Barkley, Ewing, and he goes like through the whole fucking dream team. And then he goes, and he's got his fucking shrine for him and shit. There's something about when that happened, I fucking died laughing. Just the fact that he would be such a fanboy of the Dream Team, it just fucking killed him.
He's basketball team.
Yeah, he's like, they dominated everybody and they slayed. That's why he loved them, because they were fucking killing it on the court, literally, dude. It was so funny. And dude, like his interactions with the government employee and shit, like,
dude,
fucking,
like
fucking
he must
incredible.
be really dead inside.
He has no energy to take.
Yeah, like he
Yeah.
must be really dead inside.
That's probably my other
dude.
favorite scene. That
Yeah,
was really
the
fucking
Constitution part. And what does the
Yes.
Constitution do for the people? It oppresses them.
The
Yo,
first 3 words of the Constitution. Hey, you guys.
dude, that whole thing.
How long? So, how many years can somebody be president? 1,000 years. Just weird shit, man. I don't know. Everything about it killed me.
Yeah, no, that whole interview
and dude,
was cool.
And he's sporting the jersey, the fucking USA jersey.
Yes.
Just fucking incredible. Every time that episode was my favorite. And for the season, are we doing the last 5 episodes or the season?
The season.
The season, I'll give it a 9.1.
9.1.
Slightly higher than you, Bo. Okay.
Just a little bit. just a smidge.
Just a smidge, but we're all 9.0 or above, man. That's fucking wild.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a
solid
testament.
comedy.
I'm excited to
It's
watch the
definitely
rest of the
for-
season too.
It's definitely for anybody that likes a dry, silly humor, but also likes quick-witted humor at the same time, because it does combine both. If you like The Office, Parks and Rec, stuff like that, but with a little more morbidity to it.
Morbidity.
Like the fact that Laszlo can show his porn and
Dude,
His
the
own face.
orgy episode. Like that one
own
was
face.
another good one. Like that shit. God. And like the porn was all the same. Like that shit was
Yeah.
fucking hilarious, dude.
What's the deal with pages? It's like the 90s.
the Seinfeld one, dude. That's so great.
Oh my god. All right, so the last review for the evening is Devs. Devs, the last 4 episodes.
Bo's not happy.
The end of season 1. Is there a second season? Is there even a second
I
season?
looked this up, by the way. It said
It's a
limited
standalone.
series.
Yeah.
So it might just be the one season, which honestly, I
Yeah.
think they could leave it off and just be
After the
fantastic.
end of it, yeah, there better not be another one.
So Alex Garland, the guy that wrote and directed it, he his last movie Annihilation with Natalie Portman, he had like a really rough time getting it out to the I think it didn't even go international, or something along those lines. But he had a really tough time getting the studio to get behind the movie and promote it properly and everything. And so he's basically like, fuck the studio system, or fuck Hollywood rather. He was going to make a TV show and he could like have more freedom to do what he wants to do with the show and kind of
Oh, he did.
create Yeah, I know. And it's a slow burn. It's not for everybody, man. I guess once again another slow burn. I got to get away from the slow burns.
Slow?
Yeah.
Bruh. Like a turtle slow.
Yeah.
This shit was slow
But-
like molasses in winter, bro. Like
but meaningful. Sometimes when a rabbit's going
I mean,
too
it
fast,
had meaning, but Jesus Christ.
it's a fucking haze. You can't see nothing when you.
I'll
but
be
you can
honest with
see
you.
You can see every detail of that tortoise.
I'll
going
be
his way.
honest.
I'm
I'll be honest.
coming up with this on the fly. This analogy is on the fly.
I'm gonna show you my forehead so you can see how serious I am.
Did you go bald or something?
You didn't need 8 episodes.
Well, what do you think you needed? I enjoyed all the character work that they did, and all the. I mean, it felt like
it could have been
David
7
Lynch
episodes. I
sci-fi
feel like
a little
it
bit.
was an hour too long.
An hour. It's like 9. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it was 1 hour way too long. Maybe even 2. Well, I don't know. I just don't feel like 8 episodes was necessary.
I can't hate on that. I mean, that's a
I feel like
I thought-
because a lot of it was these long, drawn out, artsy moments. Like you gonna
There
talk
was one episode that started off that way, but I don't remember which one it was. It was like 6 or 7. It started off with that annoying song and just kind of went for like a minute of nothing. That was kind of weird.
I mean, like, I get it. Like, honestly, like, it's a smart show, very intelligent show, very deep, very. It's very intellectual because it's a lot of good questions that you got to ask. About.
I
the
think
whole
about that
thing.
stuff all the time too. So like,
Yeah,
when
I
I'm watching
mean,
it, yeah.
because at the when you actually, as he breaks it down, Deus, we all know what Deus means. Like, so it's just like, oh, you basically.
Oh, by the way, it ties into his first movie, Deus Ex Machina.
Right.
Hand of God, if I remember correctly.
So, but
And
go ahead,
and
Ray.
it's
This is your pick.
similar stories.
This is your pick. Go ahead and roll it in. And do.
I fucking love it, man. They kind of slightly they talk more about determinism in the first half of the series, and then they kind of move slowly into the many worlds interpretation, I think.
Yeah.
And kind of that's the idea that pretty much prevails. And Forrest has to, I mean, long story short, because it's a lot to get into, but like he kind of had to give in to like that idea. And there's also a lot of simulation theory going on too. Like it's a nice, like everything kind of ties in a weird, awesome way.
Right.
Creating a simulation inside a simulation, and that'll go on forever. And like because of this code, like it changes it creates more worlds and universes and fucking it's just like endless. And I don't even know where to start. Like to do this in such a short amount of time, talk about it. But yeah, like it's
a pretty deep show.
Yeah, like I mean, there's so many ideas being thrown at you every second, man. And like, just I knew I knew that this was going to be an all-time favorite show for me when they quoted Heraclitus, because like I took philosophy in college, and I almost wanted to be an anthropologist. I loved anthropology so much and philosophy. This movie has a lot of stuff going on with that when they're going back to the caveman days.
Yeah.
And like, and dude, like when they, when he quotes Heraclitus with the river you never step into the same river twice.
Right.
Her dad told her that.
Yeah. He was it seemed like he was dying or something.
That's when I knew. I'm like, this is my. I mean, I bought a book on Heraclitus. I loved it so much. Like, he's a Greek philosopher. He's awesome. But like, I remember reading that in that class, and that just blew my fucking mind. It was one of those things that kind of like you hear about it and you go, oh shit,
yeah,
that's crazy. Like nothing's static at all.
The gems like that I did enjoy, because I definitely picked up. I was like, that's a very true and
he said
intelligent way to look at life.
He explains it to her too. He's like, I mean, you think about it. You step in that river and then you step in it again. Not only has the river changed because it's different water, but like you've changed,
right?
Over time, and it makes you think about like, we view people as like who they are in the moment, but it's like at one time they were a baby, and couldn't utter a word, and then later in life they're going to be on their deathbed. You know what I mean? Like, right. We're not this one thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not static. We have like we're all part of this outward expansion of the universe. You know what I'm saying? And like everything's rolling, everything's moving, everything's rolling, and it never stops. And you can't even when you think you're taking a break, you're not. I mean, it's moving. Everything's moving. It's all perpetual motion. But I love the ideas of the show so much, man. And I think the character work with Forrest. I will say this: my biggest gripe with the show is all the acting outside of Nick Offerman. I feel like everybody's a little not on his level.
He needs more serious roles. I want to see him play some more serious stuff, because he was awesome. Man. He was really good on that show.
Dude, when he's on the on the phone with his wife and he sees his that car get whacked like that.
Oh, we had all the different outcomes from the multiverse and everything. That was a pretty awesome scene.
Yeah, they pull up and then they go to the grocery store and but you see him walking to the accident as well, like in the same shot. It's like, whoa, yeah, it's deep shit, man. And
that the fact that kind of mind fuck in some ways.
The fact that he held on to the determinism theory because like there's only one way that this thing goes and I could change it. And, the fact that he holds on to that because he feels so guilty about what happened.
Right.
It's very, very powerful. And and there's, the fact that he had to go with the many worlds theory, like there's so many versions of what's happening where like they're in a hellscape. You know, like he's like, and I love how they touch on that in the show where he's like, you know, this is the good shit's here, but like there's other worlds that we've created where like things are going to shit, and those people, and we exist in that too,
right?
But we also exist here, and it's like it's such a mind fuck, but it's like
I like
just
that
to get
too.
that back, he was willing to sacrifice all those other versions of all those other many different worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like he's able to sacrifice himself in those worlds to get this one world. You know,
right?
Some deep shit.
Yeah, no, I like that scene too. How they shot that, where he was telling her at the end about basically like, yo, you know, this is what it is, and how when he was talking at the background behind them was changing through the different possible worlds and shit. Like I thought that was pretty dope. Like
I love how they changed the color palette for all of them to make it like emphasize like this is dreadful, like
right.
This is not good. Like, and you don't even have to see nothing; you just see the color palette change, and you're like, oh, that's bad world.
Right. Exactly.
This is good.
Pretty
this
much.
is good world. Yeah. It's funny how they did that. Funny how they did it so easy because you didn't see anything except them talking.
Right. Exactly.
But it was like it looked like a hellscape. Though. I was like, oh.
Or even the scene with Lyndon jumping and falling off the dam or whatever it was, you know, that too. Katie already knew exactly like what he was going to do. And like, do I jump, you know, and she kind of leaves it up to him, you know, is it free will or is it all predetermined?
Yep. And dude, when they look a second into the future and they can't change the reaction because the projection already took into account the fact they're going to see themselves a second into the future. And like, it's such a mind fuck. Like when you're watching it, because it's like, they're reacting legit, like the way they're going to react. And it shows you like how incredible it was that Lily did what she did, because where she, you know, she basically was original sin. She was Eve, and, you know, Nick Offerman's character, what's his name? Forrest.
Yeah.
Forrest was basically Jesus, or God rather. You know, and like she was the one that created original sin and, you know, created the world, the world that they live in later where his daughter's alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much, yeah, because she is. She even touches it on herself, which was pretty touching at the end, too, in a sense, when she kind of realized, yo, that was me. You know, I was the original sin, you know?
Yeah. My only gripe was like, what was he? So when they get into the simulation, so like they are the only ones that are real, really. Everything else is simulated.
You think?
Well,
I question that. I think her boyfriend, Jamie, her ex-boyfriend, I think they might have.
You think they got his body?
I think they might have.
Maybe, yeah.
Because that look he had when they hugged at the end there.
Maybe.
I don't know. It just something to me, and maybe I'm overreading it a little. I don't know, but something to me seemed like it was more than just, oh shit, my ex randomly showed up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed more to that to me. I don't know.
But what I love is that their love would not exist without her knowing what happens in the, I guess you'd say, the real world or the original world.
Right.
Like without her knowing that he was so kind to her and helping her with Sergey and you know, protecting her and everything, she would not have been able to fall back in love with him.
Oh, even the
simulation. You know
the homeless dude.
Homeless dude was great.
I think he also knew too. I think him and Jamie somehow got their data put in there, because the way he also was just like at the end, he had that they had that look. She had that look at him. They had that like little exchange, and he kind of laughed like, You know?
I take Forrest's word for it that they're the only two personally, but I can see it, man. You know?
I mean, I don't know. Those two like leave it up for interpretation a little bit to me. I don't know. I mean, because like I said, he just had that. They had that look. You know what I'm saying? Like that one where like, you know, you just let that nasty fart out. You look at your homie, you like, yo, you know,
bro. But like,
that's
there's so
like
much
just
Stewart.
That's more just like waiting, smiling at your friend, waiting until he smells it, and then just laughing.
Right? Like, gotcha, bitch. But yeah, so what out of the last, I guess, 4 episodes, what was probably your favorite, I guess, or scene, or scene?
Episode or scene. I love. So, I'm a sucker for these kind of scenes. So, a scene where Jamie and Lily go to Forrest's house, and she sits down at the kitchen table with what's her
and I
name?
have
Allison
that
Hill?
one-on-one.
Yeah, Katie. When they sit down, they have that one-on-one, and she shows her the pencil and she explains things. I love how like meticulous it is, and every word matters, and they're really the character work going on there, and actually what they're conveying, like the ideas they're presenting is like everything about it. I was like
Forrest
fucking
and
all
Jamie
about, and the fact
throwing out.
yeah, and they're throwing a frisbee like he did with his daughter. By the way, like quick little, this is like outside of that scene. I just want to go there and come back, but like when his daughter at the end is running through the grass, and it's like it's the same height as like her out in the trees, her like statue. Like I thought it was a cool little visual callback, but yeah, going back though, like when they're sitting at that table and she's rolling the pin and she like explains how they could see in the future and back based on the particles and whatever,
right?
The quantum particles, like yeah, you see, and she tells her, she's like, you know, you're going to end up at Devs, and this is what's going to happen, and that's going to happen, and it's like, because the thing that's like hard to understand, it's like really hard as an audience member, I think, for a lot of people to like understand. It's like, well, if someone told me that, I just wouldn't do it. It's like, but what you aren't taking into account is like the reason they do what they do is because they're being told they're going to do that as well. Like they have knowledge, like they have full knowledge of. I'm not articulating it properly, but it's like
it leaves you questioning, like, if I know my future, can I change it, or is it already predetermined?
Right. Well, and that's the main overall theme of the movie is.
But the thing is they predict you creating the machine, which means you seeing into the future and being able to like that's all in taken into account. Like it's not like it's separate from what's going to happen in the future. So like the fact that she knows and the fact she's told you're not going to go to Devs, and then she's going to sit there and she's going to go, I'm just going to fuck him up by not going. And then that dude comes in and murks Jamie, and the Russian dude, kills Kitten. And then like, they have that conversation where he's like, great line, by the way, where he, I want to remember the line exactly. He was like, that was your old life, and now you got a choice about your new life, which is a theme of the show, period. It's like, what's happened, happened. Like, your choice is here. You could either go to Hong Kong, or I forgot what the other option, but basically face the consequence. But basically, you're going to go, it doesn't end well for you unless you go to Hong Kong. They can't extradite anybody.
Well, that or CIA.
But, or you go to the CIA.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, it's like you can go to the CIA and get, put an investigation, or you can take your passport and go back to China where there's no extradition, and you can just live out the rest of your days, with your mom.
But you can never come home.
Right, but you can never come home. Exactly.
And then she was like, fuck my mom. And she went to Devs.
Right. She said, fuck everything. I'm about to go blast somebody because they done took both my mans. Yeah. And it's a wrap now.
Both my mans.
Both my mans. My fake Russians mans and my reals mans.
Bro, think about what she went through in this time. Like,
bro,
she saw, man. Like, she thought he got burned alive. It didn't happen like that, but like, it's probably worse actually.
Right.
The way they fucking choked him out in that fucking bag, dude. I'm like, damn.
And then, like, to find out he wasn't even real. Like, he was a Russian asset.
Yeah.
Like,
and then she watches this dude bring me some water as well, please. And then all of a sudden he's getting shot in the back and shit. Like, what the fuck?
Like, we just banged last night.
Yeah.
Back. So, yeah, what are you giving the show as a whole?
Like I said, my only real criticism, I love Alex Garland. Like, his work, man, like, I feel like I feel like he's honestly probably the best sci-fi has to offer right now. And and I definitely, like, there's not many sci-fi shows that could stand up to Devs, in my opinion. Like, there's maybe 3, maybe. And like, I mean, I don't think that like sci-fi television is like a huge. I think it's an untapped market. I think there could be way more shows like this that kind of are a little more cerebral, you know, which I would fucking dig. I think he's like the perfect guy to kind of give people an idea on how to do that. He, where was I going with that? The only problem I had with the show was I felt like Lily was weak as an actress. I think Jamie's a weak actress. Actor rather. And pretty much everybody but Forrest. Allison Pill's pretty good. But
I give her bad
Nick
credit
Offerman,
only because I'm just so used to watching Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
So
I've seen her in other movies, so I can respect her a lot in this one.
Right.
It's a bit
I feel-
different than other roles.
I feel the same way, but I feel like if the acting was slightly better, I think it would be like an all-time classic personally. But
I
So I would
definitely
give
think Nick Offerman stole the show as far as acting goes.
oh,
Yep.
yeah.
and he,
By all
dude,
means.
oh my god, there was not a bad scene. Like he never had a moment where you're like you felt like he was acting. Like he was Forrest.
Yeah, he murdered it.
And to see him from like, I've seen him in other things and a lot of smaller roles, but to have go from Ron Swanson being his big role to that's a huge step, you know?
Facts.
Yeah,
So
he
yeah, I give it a
executed.
because of the acting, slightly knocking it down a little bit. I'll give it a 9.7 out of 10.
Slightly knocking it down.
0.3 points.
9.7.
Yeah.
This guy. All right, Chuck, you're up next, sir.
Cheers to you, Red. That show was fantastic. I loved it all the way through. I like that it kept me thinking and questioning the entire time. I didn't really find it too slow because I found myself intrigued. I was wondering like where it was going. I wanted to know if they could break into the multiverse. I wanted to know if free will actually existed in this universe. If like Lily were to take one action outside of what she was told, would it change it, or was that the way it was supposed to play out? You know, just
And
kept me
Stewart was
thinking
always
about
gonna do what he did. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just love the idea, the touching on so many different theories of the, you know, like I said, free will, quantum computing, string theory, even to a degree, just like all of that touched into one show and wrapped up well and kind of cohesively, considering how deep that subject was. I think it was a very solid show overall. I loved it. I will probably end up watching it again in the future after I forget it because I don't want to rewatch it while I remember it.
Yep.
I do agree that Nick Offerman stole the show altogether. He was probably the best actor. Lily could have been a little bit better, but you know what? I don't really know from anything else, so I'm excited to see what else she can do in the future.
So you know what? Remember Ex Machina with the dancing scene with the Oscar Isaac, the girl that his like slave or not slave, but his like the machine that he dances with in Ex Machina, Oscar Isaac. Like that's her. She looks completely different, but she has longer hair is why. So she cut her hair for this, and she's also at the end of Annihilation, the humanoid that like mimics Natalie Portman's character.
I know I watched it, but I don't remember much of that movie for some reason. I might have been kind of buzzed when I watched it.
Yeah, I feel like she was. I feel like maybe that was her character. Was that she was supposed to be like really, I don't know, dull or I don't even know what it is. Like her and Sergey, that relationship. There's something about it that was a little off to me.
Well, he was a Russian spy,
and she was Chinese.
But that's what made her and Jamie so much better once they kind of reconnected too. You know,
right? But Jamie was slightly.
real.
I wish he was a better actor. Honestly,
he was a little flat, a little one-dimensional, but it could just be the writing too, because they didn't really give him a ton to work on. He, his character didn't really have a lot of development, just like a little bit. You know, they could have.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe because he was more of a side character. They didn't write too much of his development in there, which kind of makes sense.
True.
He was slightly too much of a simp for my liking. I just didn't like him as a person. Like he was, you know what I mean? Like it was like, come on, man, damn, just shitting all over you. You don't give a fuck, you know? Like
fucking man up.
Yeah, I think there were some moments like that for me. Maybe that influenced it a little bit because it was just like, but yeah, I wasn't a fan of his acting. But I'm sorry, I talked too much.
No, you're good.
I'm tired.
So, Chuck, what was your episode?
I don't know about episode in particular, just because it is
or scene.
It's hard to break it up just because there's so much going on in every episode. It's probably towards the last one of the last scenes where Lily and Forrest are watching the outcome of what happens in the elevator where it collapses, and she knows exactly how it's going to play out, where she has the gun, Kenton's gun, and is going to shoot Forrest in the elevator, and the whole thing is going to collapse. So that's pretty much predetermined. That's how it's going to be no matter what. So she sees it. She leads Forrest out. It's the same dialogue as, it's been played out millions of times apparently. And she throws the gun away and starts shooting him. But they still die because Stewart's on the other side just waiting for them to come through. And he just pushes the button for the elevator to collapse because he knows what they did.
Right.
He didn't like the idea of them playing God. And that whole scene to me is like, she still saw what was coming. She reacted differently, but still could not avoid her destiny, how it was supposed to play out. And to me, that was cool because it's like, does free will actually exist?
Right.
Yep.
I
think it leans a little bit toward that, but it's like you can do slight variations, but you're not really going to change your overall outcome. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like your overall trajectory is going to be what it is. You can make little decisions here and there, and maybe you make a decision that does change things drastically, which I'm sure does happen. But in this particular instance, maybe not. But it opens up the door of possibilities where it's like maybe determinism is a little not bullshit, but you can override
truth to it. Yeah. It's like in my head, like I kind of feel like the smallest action in your day could completely change your outcome of your day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even in my own personal experience, there was a day I was coming home from work and there was a nasty accident where this car drove through a building and I was there basically right behind it to the point where, like, if I left work 5 minutes earlier, that could have been me or I could have been involved or I could have missed it altogether. But instead, I ended up witnessing the aftermath of it. You know what I mean? So those few minutes, whatever, could have made the biggest difference. That could have been me.
Right.
So I personally believe that, the smallest action could change your whole outcome. But for the sake of the show, I totally get what they're going for, and I agree with it. Like, it was a really brilliant idea.
I think it paints a perfect picture of also, like, when you look at Forrest and I keep forgetting Allison, Katie. When you look at their characters, like, they are very, like, cold and calculated, and I feel like that they are a direct result of people who buy into determinism too much. Like, when you like, this is what happens and this is how it's going to happen only this way, and like you become cold to the world and you don't give a fuck about human life, and you become like, what's the word, apathetic or
apathetic's a good word.
Yeah, like you just kind of like, it is what it is, it's going to happen like this. Whereas like Jamie's character is very much like, not if I have anything to say about it, motherfucker. And like she could actually change something because she's got the right mindset, which is a direct result of DNA and brain chemistry and all these things that you don't have control of. But at the same time, I don't know, it's like the show doesn't give you answers. It just asks a lot of questions, which I love. And I think, like that, but the way Alison Pill's character, Katie, is very, like, she's very, she's like a robot almost, man. Like the way she's looking around. And, like, and it's because she sees ahead, and like that influenced how she acts now. And she acts like she's not even human. And it's like, there's something to be said about that, where it's like, even if you could see into the future, would you even want to, man? Like,
right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
And that's
honestly.
where Stewart comes back into, because he knows that they're playing God because they can do that, and that was pretty
And
powerful.
like, dude, the way they respond to Lily when she fucking throws that gun.
Yes.
I mean, Forrest had horror. Dude, there was like horror on his face, like sheer horror. He was like, oh my God, dude. It was such great acting because he was literally, like, you could see him just like, what the fuck? And he's like wondering what's going to happen next. And that's probably the most alive he's felt since before his daughter died.
Yeah, because he's like very dead on the inside because of that. And I like that as a character because you can see that. You can see that he's just going with emotions the entire series, Yeah. He wants his outcome, but he's so dead to the world at the same time,
Yep.
Agreed. So What was your favorite scene or episode, Chuck?
That scene in particular where Katie throws, keep saying Katie, Lily throws the gun out of the elevator and blows Forrest's mind that she broke the simulation essentially.
To a degree.
To a degree.
To a degree.
And
Still a miracle, almost like
right.
Like it's like crazy she did that. He's like, what?
I think it's probably one of the most intelligent shows I've watched in a long time. Major credit to Alex Garland, and I look forward to his next project. I would love to see him touch more onto a series like this where he can have more free reign outside of an hour and a half to 2 hours. Because I think he's a brilliant writer. That show was absolutely fantastic. It's one of my new favorites, and I will definitely rewatch that. I definitely recommend it. It's a solid 8-ish hours of your life. Well worth it, especially if you want to keep lost in thinking the entire time. I'm going to give it a solid 9.8, and I told Red I was going to give it 9.8 last time just because I loved it.
Oh, boy.
You're going to bow the odd man out on this one.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, we don't know what Jofer would think because he just disappeared.
Well, he only watched the first episode last time.
He wouldn't even go past it. I don't think it's for him, man.
It was barely for me as well. It's one of those situations like I get it. I get why y'all enjoy it. Like I totally understand. But it's another one of those obvious, as you mentioned, slow burns. It's just too long. Like I was saying earlier, I felt like it's 8 hours and it could have been condensed to 6. I just think it could have, I don't know, maybe break down instead of 8, maybe make them shorter. I don't know. It just seems so long and drawn out. Like a lot of the moments felt a lot longer than they needed to be. The aimless stares and I know it's to build the mood and the moment and to add to the oomph of the scene, but damn it, man, just so many dry
art is subjective, man. Like that's the beautiful thing about it. Like that's not for everybody. That's for me.
Oh yeah,
Chuck apparently.
Yeah, it's definitely not a show for everybody. It's very intelligent. It does have some great acting, and it's a great story in the sense of the science aspect of it. But it is such a slow mover, and I to be honest with you, I feel like the amount of time I waited, I didn't get enough for. I guess, I felt like the climax wasn't as good as it could have been. I guess. Maybe I'm not happy with the way it ended. I don't know how far up that box was to where they fell. I don't think they should have been dead. Because I don't know. It was questionable to me. She didn't look like she had glass punctured into her. You know what I'm saying? It just seemed like a shitty fall. And I wasn't convinced that fall could have killed them. I felt like it needed to be more gruesome, maybe just show more, because even Forrest, he was bleeding a little bit, but he didn't look like fucking I don't know, just that fall just didn't seem.
Damn, I didn't even think about it honestly.
It's because I think they explained the measurements and the distances when they first. On the first episode or whatever, when Sergey was coming through the building and all that, maybe they explained those levels, but I just feel like from where they fell to where it crashed, I don't think it would have killed them.
I can agree with that part, though.
Maybe it could have knocked them unconscious or something like that, the stress and everything, because it was air pressurized and all that mess. So I can understand that, but the distance of the fall, you died from that, bitch, you just did all this other crazy shit, and this is how you die. Excuse me.
I can see that.
But yeah, the whole idea of them basically playing God, that was fucking cool. I like that science aspect. Especially as a Marvel fan. It's now quantum is a big topic now all of a sudden,
and in the conspiracy world it has been for several years now.
which I could go on and conspiracize theories and all this shit with quantum.
I love
But
that.
that's a
I can
whole
conspiracize
different type of
theories
show.
with the best of them.
But I
Project
just,
Looking Glass.
I loved it. I thought it was cool in that aspect. I love the science aspect because of the quantum mechanics and how Marvel tried to put their, science spin on it, and now they're using it, and they're like, well, they're not necessarily wrong. They maybe just be looking at it in a different direction because it's the same thing, dealing with looking into the past, or in this case, the future as well. So that was cool, but it just was so slow. Like, it was like, Jesus Christ. And I love Nick Offerman. He killed the fucking role. I didn't feel as bad about the acting as you guys did. I thought it was all decent. But it just was slow as shit. Like, it was
I don't mind a slow burn if the payout's worth it. And to me,
that's my problem. The payout for me, it wasn't. Because again, that's probably what killed me the most is the fact that I was so stuck on the fall that I'm like, you dead?
Wow.
It's like y'all fell down 2 flights of stairs. That's not that.
I'll be honest, like I just gave it like a cursory thought. I was like, that's not that far of a fall, but I just went right back. I don't know. To me, it's like,
yeah,
it's I don't get hung up on weird stuff like that.
Right, but the idea of it, because they were all super science. They were all about science and all this specific shit. So that's when I was just like, hold up. Y'all gonna be specific about all this. But this over here, we're gonna leave that plot hole open, huh? Okay.
It's a TV show?
But I mean, but I get it. I get the setup of the scene because obviously the whole thing was that they both die. Like that was that was like, we don't leave her alive. That was kept pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. Like, I get it. And they had to die because otherwise they would have killed their own narrative. I get it. And I get that Stewart had to do it because I feel like it was a double-edged sword for him too. I think it was one, he was like, y'all fucked up my boy Lyndon. Like, y'all should have let him slide. Because I love them too. Their dynamic
that was the best
that's
dynamic
great,
in the
man.
entire show.
Oh man, the little kid. Well, he wasn't even really little. He looked younger than 19.
He looked like he was like 14.
Right, but he's 19.
He's actually a woman.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, but she definitely does not look 19. She looked 15, like 14.
But hey, it's 2020, man. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Right. But their dynamic, Stewart and Lyndon, the dynamic between those two was just fucking entertaining. Like, I loved it, and I'm sad because I wanted more of them too. Like, I wanted to see more about how their past. I get that.
Stewart's my favorite character, by the way.
I'm not surprised, man.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Dude, like the poetry he'd be quoting, like, what do you say? He said, the best of us lack the most conviction, and like fucking the worst of us are intensely passionate or some shit like that. And like, you look, I don't know, like there's so many lines that would come up where I'm just like,
well, that scene with him too, where he's like, you don't know shit.
Yeah.
He's like, you think your generation's so low, you don't know shit. That whole scene is probably my favorite in the entire series, personally.
But it ties into like what he does later as a character, where he tells Forrest, he's like, I don't like the fact that people have this much power and they don't even know history.
Right.
Yep.
They don't even understand how people work. Right. Like, this should not be something we have. Yeah. Like, we should not have this much power, because if you have this much power, it's.
I also think it was like an accomplishment too thing. Like, all right, we've just realized we can basically get to God status. Let's stop now. Like, it was definitely a little bit of like, of all those factors that was his arc. Like, one, I like my homie. My homie, you pretty much fired my homie, and I'm pretty sure he knew his homie was gonna die too. I'm pretty sure he knew. And secondly, he didn't like the fact that they were playing God, but also it was a personal thing for him too. Like, I have helped figure this out to basically be God, but nobody should have it, and I don't agree with it, so let's destroy this shit. Which obviously it didn't end up that way, because you see at the end, Allison Pill, Katie, is talking to the defense coordinator lady. So yeah, it's a good show, but it's definitely not for her. But I cannot recommend it for everybody at all, But for those who do like sci-fi and good questions, like you said, definitely need to watch it. But just for me, it was too slow. Like I said, it could have probably been 7 hours versus 8. But I will say, favorite scene episode was when the whole flashback episode of between Lily and Forrest and seeing Katie too when she talks, argues with the professor. Like that whole episode was cool.
Yeah,
I liked seeing that. But it's mainly Nick Offerman watching his wife and daughter. Like, and that's the other thing, I didn't even pick up on that until that episode, that it wasn't just his daughter, it was his wife too.
Yeah.
And I was like,
fuck her, you know what I'm saying?
oh shit. But yeah,
I forgot to mention, by the way, is at the end you really do get to see the extent of Forrest's character alone when they're in the simulation. He holds no ill will towards Lily whatsoever. After what he did.
Yeah.
And you just see that, like, overall, like, he did play God. He had this God complex, but overall, he was a good guy. His heart was in the right place, you know?
Right.
And you see that fact that he's like, I'm in a good spot now. It may not be, like, true reality in his mind, but he's in a good place.
Right.
You know, and I like that character a lot.
Oh, yeah. No, he definitely was shining. And he got to put that high on his resume for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that whole scene, the multiple reality parts of it too, like, because again, it wasn't in that episode. I think it was the next episode or the last episode where they touched briefly back on it, and she's arguing with him to get off the phone.
Yeah,
and that's when you realized, oh shit, that's his guilt. Right,
that was the catalyst.
That's why he's so set on determinism, and it ties back to, like, in the earlier episodes when he would go off on Katie about, like, they would start to do the Lyndon's mini worlds theory, and then, like, she would push back, like, pretty much like he's right, and he's like, she's not right. I think it's a he. I don't know. I think it's a he in the show, but a she actress.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
but he's like, he says, he's not right because, like, that's not our Jesus, just like that's not Maya, because every little hair on her head counts, or however you put it.
Yeah,
and then and then she plays the simulation back to him using, what Lyndon did, and like he was balls like a baby, and like that shit was so powerful, man.
But yeah, that's that scene, like, and like I said, I love the callback to it because at that time when you first seen the scene, when you first see it, they don't show you that. They don't show you that she was arguing with him to get off the phone because she doesn't like driving and being on the phone. Like, you don't see that. It wasn't until it was revealed later, which to me, that was the bigger payoff out of the whole thing. Because I was like, oh, fuck.
It was a very powerful scene.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is you knew from get-go, he was trying to figure out a way to do something with his kid, bring her back or get back to the memories, whatever the case is. And you obviously knew, like, sure, he felt bad, but you kind of were like, well, nobody really explained what happened, so why would he feel so bad? And then you see it, and you're like, well, that's not necessarily his fault. Why is he so guilty? And then they're like, oh, by the way, he didn't let her get off the phone. And then wham. Like,
she literally says, like, I'm the prosecution or whatever. How proud she put it.
Oh, it was him. He was like, you're the judge and the jury or some shit like that. But yeah. I mean, that was really good. But like I said, it was such a slow mover. So for me, overall, I'm giving it a solid, like, 7. Yeah. 7. 7 is good. It's well written. It's just not for everybody. Definitely not. And it's a thinker. I'm not saying dumb people can't get it, but unfortunately, some of y'all dumb folks ain't gonna get it.
You know what the dumb response is when they can't change their, like, they go a second to the future and they can't change their patterns of behavior. Like, when you see that, the dumb response is, why don't you just not say it?
Right.
I can dude, I could see watching that movie with so many friends and family, and them just being like tuning out because of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Like,
They'd be
this
they'd be
doesn't
"Wow,
make
fuck."
sense.
Exactly.
I'm like, I know it doesn't make sense, but it does. But all right, we've been in overtime here for a little bit, so we're gonna wrap it up. We got some picks to make here. I'm gonna jump off the top rope here and drop Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
I think we need to watch that. We mentioned it when it hit theaters, so we're gonna definitely have to jump on that. So that's my pick for the next episode. Chuck, what is yours?
Ooh, it's tough. It depends on what Red picked because I don't know if I want to go funny or serious. Let Red go first.
Damn. I was waiting for you. So we'll do. You know, I saw the best movie. In my opinion, the best movie of the year so far. It's on HBO Max, starring Hugh Jackman. We're gonna do Bad Education.
Bad Education.
Is it on anything else other than HBO Max?
No, it's brand new. Should I do something else because it's on there?
I don't have access to that.
Okay. I should be able to give you a password.
If that works, then yeah, I'll just watch it on your account.
Yeah.
We can figure that out.
Or we could do. Yeah, we'll do it.
So Uncut Gems, and then what was it? Bad what?
Bad Education with Hugh Jackman.
Bad Education with Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
I love
2020
Uncut
movie.
Gems.
Because there's not many movies coming out this year. Like I see one that's actually like good. You know, it's not Trolls 2 or whatever. I'm gonna we gotta do it.
All right. So now I'll do something a bit lighthearted then. All right, Bo, you're gonna like this one. We're gonna do Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
No, I gotta veto that. Can we save that? We gotta save it. The 10-year anniversary is in August. Can we save it to August?
Wow.
10-year anniversary.
Bo's on top of that shit.
10-year anniversary. Because I was going to pick it for the 10-year. Because I'm like, we got to do it.
Has it really been 2 years already?
Yes.
God.
2010, August 13th, I think it is. 2010.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's
so
nuts, time
I
flies,
saw it in theaters on the day, like the weekend it dropped.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say that because I was one of the first. I was like, "Yo, this film." So yeah, I'm gonna have to veto it just because we're really close to the fucking anniversary.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm an asshole.
Black Coat
What about Critters?
Dick.
I can't help
Shit.
it, man. It just makes sense. You can't hate on the logic, you know.
Should I do Black Coat's Daughter on Netflix and then
What the fuck
You
is
can-
that?
it's a horror movie, so he could do something. Well, I don't know what your other choice would be.
Okay. I don't know if how easily accessible this one is. It's more of a serious movie, but I'd like to rewatch it anyway.
All right.
Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks and Jude Law.
Oh,
That was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is. Let's see.
that's a Vertigo / DC Comics movie, actually. Right? Yeah. That was a comic.
It was on there, but I can definitely get it. I have no problem getting it or.
I
seeing
actually
it.
own the DVD. That's one of the few DVDs I own.
That's awesome.
So I'm down for that. That works. So are we sticking with Bad Education?
Yeah.
All right, Bad Education, Uncut Gems, and Road to Perdition. All right, sounds good.
That's a good slate. I like it. Yeah.
It is. It's a lot of dramas, but hey, that's okay. We can definitely do another drama because I mean our news portions are pretty lighthearted.
Perdition, not Predition.
Perdition.
Yeah, I was about to say, but I didn't
Perdition. Whatever. Anyways, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank y'all for tuning those that jumped in and out of viewing this evening. Appreciate y'all for putting up with our technical issues. There will be a replay on the Spreaker. We'll have the full audio from when we actually got everything going. Spreaker.com. Check it out. The FooL in Fresno, Ohio. You already know. Chuck, any last words?
Just be kind to each other. With all the crazy shit going on, just be positive, be kind to each other. Happy emotions and positive emotions go a lot further than negative emotions.
Facts.
Factuals. I mean, we all saw Ghostbusters too. We see where negative emotions get us.
That is true, yeah. And also, new season of Apex is pretty solid.
Yeah, we didn't get to touch on that. Fucking the event. Event's really good. Lost Treasures, fucking great. Lots of great stuff. Buffs, all that stuff.
Love it.
Red, last word.
Just gonna yeah, man. Like Chuck said, be kind to one another. We need that, man. Like
Facts.
Yeah.
Big
Be
fucking
nice.
facts.
Whether you guys agree with your friends and family, the same political spectrum or not, it doesn't matter. Just be kind to each other. Love one another.
They want us to be divided people.
It's all about respect.
That is very true. Be
Big
kind to
word.
each other. Love each other. Respect each other.
Red. Anything
They
else?
want us to be divided people. Do not let them
Facts.
do that.
Yes.
Facts.
Just be nice to one another, talk it out. And that's it, man.
Hug it out.
Agree to disagree if need be.
Rub
Yes.
it out.
That's a big thing, yes.
That's a good 3 outs right there. Talk it out, hug it out, rub it out.
Facts. That's me every day.
Every morning. I talk myself in the mirror.
Yes, Serge, you got any last words for anything, any announcements or anything you want to do?
Yeah.
Don't run away from your feelings.
All right.
Deep.
That was.
Very
It's
much
true,
so.
though. You don't want to run away from your feelings. You want to embrace them. But for real, y'all, be good to each other. Like everybody's saying here, just be cool. Bill and Ted's, had it the best. Just be excellent to each other. But we will be back 2 weeks from now. So tune in. Uncut Gems, Bad Education, Road to Perdition. Join in the chat, talk some shit with us. Boat Full Capital, I want to thank y'all for tuning in, liking, sharing, just stalking, whatever else, Jofer apparently napped through the whole episode. We're going to talk shit about that on the next episode. But thank y'all again, Boat Full. Thank y'all. Take care. Love y'all. Peace.
Love you.
Bye-bye. I love you all.
Good stuff to my friend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, girl.